protection against economic collapse, a guarantee that Stephen would always have something to fall back on. I never imagined I'd need protection from Stephen himself. Over the years, I added to my buried treasure. The yearly mineral rights payments, money from selling crops, even my Social Security checks. I kept enough for expenses and buried the rest. Stephen never questioned why I lived so modestly, or why I claimed to be land-rich but cash-poor. He was too busy with his important city life to care about his mother's finances. By 2020, when the oil company negotiated a new lease agreement, my backyard contained more wealth than most people see in a lifetime. Stephen still brought his family for obligatory visits, still made jokes about Mom's old-fashioned ways, never knowing he was playing frisbee over a fortune. The irony wasn't lost on me. Stephen had sold the farm to get his hands on what he thought was my entire estate, maybe $50,000 in savings, and an old house. If he'd shown even a shred of patience or human decency, he would have inherited millions. Instead, his greed had cost him everything. Lying in my hospital bed, watching his face cycle through confusion, fear, and desperate calculation, I felt something I hadn't experienced in years. Perfect, crystalline satisfaction. Stephen thought he was so clever, manipulating a dying old woman. Too bad he had no idea this dying old woman had been playing chess while he was still learning checkers. Dr. Morrison's face was flushed with embarrassment when he walked into my room the next morning. "Mrs. Thompson, I need to apologize," he began, and I knew immediately that my world was about to flip upside down again. "The lab mixed up your results with another patient. You don't have pancreatic cancer." The silence that followed was so complete, I could hear my own heartbeat. "Excuse me? You have a severe abdominal infection that's been masquerading as something much worse. It's completely treatable with antibiotics. You'll be going home in a few days, and with proper treatment, you should make a full recovery." I stared at him, processing this information while my mind raced through the implications. I wasn't dying. Stephen had sold our family farm based on false information, and somewhere in his panicked greed, he'd just signed away his birthright for pennies on the dollar. The doctor continued explaining about infections and treatment protocols, but I'd stopped listening. Instead, I was calculating. Stephen thought he'd pulled off the perfect crime, stealing from a dying woman who'd be too dead to complain. But now I was very much alive, very much angry, and very much interested in teaching my son a lesson about consequences. After Dr. Morrison left, I reached for my phone and did something I hadn't done in 20 years. I called a lawyer. Not our old family attorney who'd helped Robert with farm business, but a sharp litigation firm in